growing rumor that Pokemon's parent company is exploring blockchain, and it could be massive. The Pokemon Company recently posted job listings for Web3, blockchain, and metaverse specialists. They're not just testing NFTs, they're hiring for strategy. Why is this huge? Pokemon is one of the most valuable franchises in the world. If they enter crypto, we're talking about mass adoption level exposure. Think trading card, NFTs, metaverse pet battling, and global fanbase onboarding into Web3. This could spark a gaming X-NFT narrative wave, especially for low-cap projects already building Pokemon-style mechanics. Keep your eyes on gaming tokens and monster tamer projects, because if even a sliver of Pokemon IP hits Web3, it's game over.
So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a revolutionary technology that enables a new way to send payments over the internet. You can think of it as an open accounting system, where thousands of computers all over the world work together to track ownership of digital tokens called bitcoins. When you send someone bitcoins, the transaction is broadcast to the entire network. After it's verified, it's recorded in a public ledger called the blockchain. The blockchain contains a record of every Bitcoin transaction that has occurred since the system began, and it's shared and maintained on the network, so everyone keeps the books, so to speak. Most currencies are issued by a central authority that controls the money supply. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer system, so there is no central authority. Instead, Bitcoins are issued to users who help process transactions in the network. This is known as Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin miners are specialized computers that do the work required to verify and record transactions in the blockchain. As a reward for their work, the miners earn Bitcoins, and this is how new Bitcoins are released into circulation. The system is programmed so that only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist, and as time goes by, the mining reward decreases. The result is a predictable supply that's governed by scarcity, making Bitcoin somewhat like a digital gold. It's the first currency of the internet, and everyone is free to use it. With Bitcoin, you can send any amount of money to anyone, anywhere in the world, as easily as sending an email.
Bitcoin was created by what's believed to be a pseudonym, a guy named Satoshi Nakamoto.
Invented in '09 by a fictitious person named Satoshi Nakamoto.
On Halloween 2008, someone using the name Satoshi Nakamoto posted on a cryptography mailing list. I've been working on a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third party. The post contained a link to a white paper in which Satoshi proposed a new type of payment system for the internet. It described a protocol that used peer-to-peer networking, proof of work, and public key cryptography. For years, computer scientists had been experimenting with these technologies to create digital money. But Satoshi discovered a way to combine them that had never been done before. In doing so, he invented Bitcoin. There are no records of Nakamoto's existence prior to the creation of Bitcoin. On his profile page, he claimed to be a 34-year-old man living in Japan. Although Satoshi Nakamoto is a Japanese name, he wrote in perfect English when communicating online and went through great lengths to keep his identity unknown. Nonetheless, programmers and cryptographers all across the world recognized the brilliance of Satoshi's design and began collaborating with him to further develop Bitcoin. In October of 2009, the first exchange rate was published, listing the value of 1,309 Bitcoins at $1. Bitcoins were cheap, and through the following year, they continued to trade for fractions of a cent. In the spring of 2010, a Florida man named Laszlo decided to try using his Bitcoins to purchase something. He offered 10,000 Bitcoins to anyone who would buy him pizza. A man in London accepted and placed a long-distance phone call, ordering him 2 pizzas from Papa John's. This is generally acknowledged as the first Bitcoin transaction for a tangible good. Bitcoin was gaining momentum, but in order for it to thrive, the coins needed to be more widely accessible. A Tokyo-based exchange named Mt. Gox was the first on the scene to take hold of the marketplace, and trading volume started to pick up. By November 2010, already 4 million Bitcoins had been mined, and the exchange price briefly spiked to 50 cents per coin. The market awoke, and Bitcoin was starting to look like it might have real potential as a currency.
His name is Julian Assange. Assange and his colleagues collect confidential information and then make it public.
The release of 250,000 State Department documents no doubt presents a serious dilemma for this country.
Following a massive release of secret U.S. diplomatic cables, donations to WikiLeaks were blocked by Bank of America, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and Western Union. An article in PC World suggested that Bitcoin could be used as a workaround to send donations to WikiLeaks. One of Satoshi's last known posts was in response to the article and stated, "It would have been nice to get this attention in any other context. WikiLeaks has kicked the hornet's nest, and the swarm is headed towards us." Shortly after that, Satoshi disappeared from the forums and was never heard from again. 2 months later, the Silk Road Anonymous Marketplace was launched. It functioned as an online black market for drugs and other illicit goods, and used Bitcoin exclusively because it made the money trail nearly impossible to trace. The Silk Road caught the attention of New York Senator Charles Schumer, who was outraged and publicly called for a crackdown on the site.
Heroin, opium, cannabis, ecstasy, psychedelics, stimulants. It's unbelievable.
Throughout all this, the exchange price continued to climb. By February of 2011, Bitcoin reached parity with the US dollar, sparking an influx of new users and speculators. By June, the price had soared to a peak of $31 before it came crashing down. As the market tanked, the Mt. Gox exchange was hacked, further shaking the confidence of investors and hammering the price all the way down to the $2 range by October. While Bitcoin enthusiasts kept hope, skeptics were quick to share their hindsights and rants on blogs and in news articles. Many thought that the party was over and that Bitcoin was on its way out.
I went online and I bought 1 Bitcoin last night.
Really? It's the future.
I don't know. It didn't feel real.
Oh, real's gonna change. Just watch.
This blog that mentioned this Bitcoin project, which is an open source attempt to do money. And it caught my interest. I basically just spent a few days, read everything I could about it, looked at the source code, downloaded the source code, thought about it, and I really couldn't convince myself that it would not work. It seemed like Satoshi had thought of everything. Since then, I've just been sucked down the rabbit hole.
Bitcoin is open source software. With open source software, the code is publicly available. Anyone can look at it and see how it runs, and they can also contribute their own changes. Programmers like Gavin were able to join Satoshi to work on Bitcoin simply because they were interested.
Over time, I think Satoshi learned to trust me. He could see that I didn't make very many stupid mistakes. I never had any personal connection with Satoshi. It was always purely business. And I think that's because he was so worried about people finding out his identity. I don't know why. My last email to him was telling him that I had agreed to go visit the folks at the CIA. So whether that had something to do with him deciding to cut off communication with me entirely, he had been pulling away before then, but the CIA invited me to come talk at the CIA, and I agreed to do that.
Knowing it would surely spark conspiracy theories, Gavin posted an announcement on the Bitcoin Talk discussion forum to head off any rumors. I think accepting their invitation and being open about exactly what Bitcoin is will make it less likely they'll see it as a threat. Having taken on the lead developer position since Satoshi's disappearance, Gavin found himself facing an increasing number of responsibilities and public scrutiny.
Do your neighbors know that you're kind of at the center of one of the most disruptive technologies?
I think they know that I do like this wacky Bitcoin project. I don't think they know quite how big it is yet.
There's so many things that cryptography can do for us that if the world just knew, so many social problems could be solved. Cryptography can bring fairness to elections. It's too difficult for people to understand, and someone needs to bridge the gap.
Right now, we're using Bitcoin to send money, but many believe it will revolutionize much more. The technology behind Bitcoin can be used to build decentralized systems with rules that can't be cheated.
Now, see, this is my wife and my space. This is, awesome. It is what it is. The more time goes by, the more legitimate Bitcoin gets, and the more proud I am to be associated with it.
And now what does your wife do?
She does crafts. She's a lot like me. We just sit around and make things all day. It's just our obsession. No, I'm not a drug dealer. No, I'm not a criminal. No, I'm not a terrorist. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in structure that builds society. I believe in families. I believe in corporations. I believe in all the essential elements that a civilized society with law and order need to be able to function. Focal length matters. Cryptography is the basis for us being able to implement the values we say we believe in. This idea will never die. The technology that Bitcoin brought to the forefront, the genie is out of the bottle.
The world is seriously changing now, and it is changing in a very interesting, very radical, decentralized, and in my opinion, positive direction. Shoot, here it is. Price breaks the all-time high.
Vitalik is only 19 years old, but he has a profound understanding of the complexities of Bitcoin and a gift for explaining them. As lead writer for Bitcoin magazine, he's been traveling the world covering Bitcoin for the past year.
I'm a big fan of the decentralization concept in principle. You know, have lots of different societies operating according to whatever people's own beliefs are. Bitcoin has unique properties that no other system in the world has had before. It really seems like the only practical way forward.
As you move away from cash into your debit cards and your credit cards, you essentially are giving up a certain degree of your privacy without even really knowing it. It's important to understand that Bitcoin is not automatically perfectly anonymous, but what it does is it enables you to be anonymous if you wish to.
I should say that Gavin obviously just came straight here from the CIA, so tell us the story.
It's true. I was contacted by In-Q-Tel, which actually is an investment arm of the CIA, so it's actually a private company whose job is to find interesting new technologies and find out if the CIA can use them for the kinds of things that the CIA does. Every year they have an emerging technology conference that they put on where they invite ordinary people doing interesting things to come and present. And this year the theme of that conference was the mobility of money. And so obviously they're interested in Bitcoin because Bitcoin makes your money very mobile. You can pay anybody anywhere in the world with your Bitcoins. So they gave me a call. After thinking pretty hard about it, I decided I would do it because it's an open source project. I figured, you know, going to the CIA and talking very openly about what Bitcoin is and what it can do wouldn't hurt the project. So
it's not a secret.
It's not a secret.
It's totally open, right?
It is.
Were they interested in it as an investment? But like CIA invests in things? Is that what they were thinking?
Well, the CIA doesn't tell you what they're thinking.
That's probably so.
So it's a little bit hard to figure out. I mean, the other people who were, and I should say this was a 3-day conference. The first day is unclassified, so I can talk about it. The second and third days actually are classified, and I wasn't invited.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I know what happened I know what went on the first day. I can talk about what went on the first day. I have no idea what they're doing now.
Oh, when was the last time you chatted with Satoshi?
I haven't had email from Satoshi in a couple months, actually. The last email I sent him, actually, I told him I was going to talk at the CIA. So it's possible that that may have had something to do with his deciding not to talk to me.
It's probably a good time, too.
But he had actually said before that he was going to be busy with other stuff and he was going to be stepping back. And
so what's he doing now?
I don't know.
Think Satoshi Nakamoto is?
I would say the same thing. I think it's probably a group of people. I think Hal Finney probably was the center of it. And although Dave Kleiman could equally have been involved for some of the similar reasons, if you look at the code, you can kind of, the early messy C code, you can kind of like date the age and background of the programmer. And, Hal Finney was of that kind of age and had sort of messed around with all kinds of things, including games programming, I think.
Yep.
You can't ignore evidence like the fact that he received the first Bitcoin transaction.
Imagine a world where ICP smart contracts can seamlessly interact with the Bitcoin network, thanks to the groundbreaking Deuterium milestone chain fusion technology. With the introduction of T-Schnorr, these smart contracts can now handle Taproot transactions, paving the way for decentralized workflows with meta protocols like Ordinals and BRC-20. This means that ICP ecosystem projects are poised to revolutionize the Bitcoin economy with completely decentralized capabilities. The future is here, and it's
Here's why CKBTC on Internet Computer is rapidly becoming a smarter asset layer than ETH. First, gas fees are $0 for CKBTC users, while ETH users face fluctuating costs that can skyrocket. Next, CKBTC offers finality in just 1 to 2 seconds, making it ideal for real-time applications, unlike ETH8's slower finality. Security is key. CKBTC is 1.1 backed by real BTC, while ETH8's cross-chain assets are risk-prone. With CKBTC, Bitcoin is fully programmable, enabling gasless dApps and seamless interactions. Finally, CKBTC is optimized for AI applications, while ETH8 struggles with high-throughput compute. In conclusion, CKBTC on ICP is setting a new standard for secure, gasless, and programmable Bitcoin. Secure and quantum-proof only on ICP.
And so, I mean, Chain Fusion, of course, being all about tearing down the walls that separate blockchains without having to introduce additional security risks. And so you can have applications that can talk with Bitcoin and ICP and Ethereum and Solana in the near future. And that kind of like sums up Chain Fusion. And this collection was a perfect example where you have exactly what you're saying, where you have a direct tie-in with Bitcoin. You can inscribe your ordinal, your journey to Chain Fusion ordinal to Bitcoin, but also you have the ICP side of the dynamic NFT, which is interesting.
Chain Fusion technology scales Bitcoin without any intermediaries via Chain Fusion technology. With near instant transaction finality and low cost, users can transfer Bitcoin seamlessly to and from the Internet Computer blockchain. Several dApps on ICP like My Lugano are already driving Bitcoin adoption with CK Bitcoin payments. Now, just recently, the Dfinity Foundation has kind of rebranded Chain Key technology into Chain Fusion technology. The reason they did this, I believe some of this has to do with kind of just being making a little bit more sense to the everyday person.
So Chain Fusion is all about like all the other blockchains that are out there besides ICP, and how we can make the nice properties of ICP, such like HTTP out calls or threshold, ECDSA, these kind of things available to all these other blockchains. And so at the end of the day, the goal here is that like a smart contract on ICP can like talk to all these other blockchains, interact with all these other blockchains. So like one place, like make ICP one place where all these other chains are fused together in one place. So we can like have fun on ICP with all these other pieces.